From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Becoming Thin podcast. And I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now. Don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles, after all. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down, up again. Before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired and fat, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real-life lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and to my systems of belief. Because it's all 6 of those things that created the results of my life, and if I wanted to get new results, I was going to have to go change those 6 things, and you will too. And I'm here each week to help you change those 6 things so that you can get the results in your life that you deserve, which is the body and life of your dreams. You know, for a long time, I didn't believe that it was possible that I could lose all the weight. Sunday, in just a couple of days from now, is when I was given the challenge to change my life. To move for 3 times a week for 20 minutes. The thing that kickstarted all of this, that has led me here 6 years later making this podcast episode. This is a really cool episode to be making right now. Because I'm doing what I didn't think was possible. I'm doing the undoable. I had the audacity to lose all the weight to actually change. And when I got over here, it's like I followed a trail of breadcrumbs that was left before me, and some of those breadcrumbs were hard to find. I turn around, I'm like, well, I'm going to throw whole damn loaves of bread. I'm going to just leave a neon signs and say, come this way, over here. This is the pathway. Come over here. I know the keto path looks tempting. It's not the answer. I know. The weight loss surgery path, it looks like it's going to solve everything. It's not. I know, even a GLP-1, this seems like this is going to solve everything. It doesn't. Like, no, come this way. Come over here. And so, and it's been so rewarding these last 6 years to be doing this. And one of the things that's changing with the podcast is I'm doing some new formats because I want to create the podcast that I wished existed for me 6 years ago. And I've been learning how to do it. And I've also I had a lot of things I needed to say. It took me a couple of years to say a lot of the things I needed to say just once or twice. And so a lot of things I'll need to say again because I've found a better way to say it. And then also, I love sharing other people's stories. One of the things that helped me on my journey was consuming weight loss stories as much as I can. It was amazing how many times I accidentally came across a valuable piece of information by learning other people's weight loss stories. But it was difficult because not everybody was approaching weight loss in the way that I was trying to do it philosophically. So that's where I think this podcast can be a wonderful gift for you, is I can be presenting information, but through a consistent philosophy and approach towards weight loss. And one of my philosophies is there's a lot of variability. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. That's why I don't offer one, because the very philosophy is there is not one. And I think questions and answers are a great way to learn on a Becoming Thin journey. And on today's episode, we got another round of community Q&A, and I pulled it directly from the Becoming Thin Facebook group. And we're going to cover what to do when you're burned out, and yet you're scared to rest, why you still feel huge even after losing maybe 75 pounds. We're going to talk about how to stop emotionally eating at parties and the hidden crash that happens after a big goal like a vacation. We're going to talk about that in today's episode of the podcast, answering some viewer/listener questions. And if you've ever felt stuck in that weird place between I'm doing everything right and why do I still feel broken, this is the episode for you. All right, we're going to talk about some things that are definitely going to help you. Now, before we dive in, if you're struggling with emotional eating, burnout, or feeling like you always sabotage your progress, I've got something for you. On Monday, after recording this podcast, what's that, the 23rd? I'm starting a workshop. It's a free 3-day workshop, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and it's called The Mindset of Weight Loss. All right, it's not a diet. I'm not giving you a diet. It's not a challenge. We're not going to do like some 75-day thing. It's not what it is. What I'm giving you and presenting to you is the same framework I used 6 years ago today that I put into place to help me lose 125 pounds after an adulthood of obesity. It's the stuff that I wished was just easily presented to me when I started my journey, and I had to find it the hard way before I ever counted a single calorie. And we're going to go live each night on Zoom. You can be there. I can see I want to see your face there on your screen. I pay to get the big Zoom meeting so I can have a lot of people on it. And I want you to be there for that. And you can register for that by going to imnotquitting.com. That's IMNOT quitting.com. And there also is a link in the show notes of the podcast. And now all the questions in this episode came from the Becoming Thin Facebook group. It's a free group. And if you want your question answered, or you just maybe want to be surrounded by people that are philosophically approaching weight loss the same way, then head on over to the Becoming Thin Facebook group. You just search Becoming Thin on Facebook or click the link in the show notes to be taken right to it. So let's take our first question from the Becoming Thin Facebook group, which comes from Melissa. Her question is this: how do I learn to slow down in the moment and really tune into my hunger? Make choices that align with my goals and stay present in social situations with myself. Often I get swept up into the moment of having fun, laughing, talking, and stuffing my face hole before I realize what I'm doing. I had an actual food hangover last Sunday because I ate enough for a small family. It felt like the night before a friend's party. So what I'm going to do for each of the questions, I'm going to take the question, then I'm going to kind of streamline and focus up each question. So to kind of really give me a singular thing to really approach. And I focus this one up this way. How do I stay present with my hunger in social situations without slipping into autopilot and overeating? And this is a really important question because we're going to be touching on things like social eating. We're going to be talking about that emotional autopilot that I just mentioned, which can actually be a problem, and which can lead to loss of control in group settings. And how many of you have struggled with that, right? You tend to lose control when you get into a group setting. So in listening to your question, there's a couple of mindsets that you want to be mindful of because they could be holding you back from progressing. And one of them is that fun and food are connected. If I'm having fun, if I don't have food, I cannot have equal fun. The fun has been diminished. I'm somehow missing something. I remember that struggle because I had actually paired food with so many different activities. Like if I was going to do a game night with friends, I just felt like we're supposed to have snacks and drinks. Like we always had snacks and drinks. And I remember the first few times I'd play games, like board games with people, and I would choose to have nothing but my water. Like I felt naked. It felt weird. It was just such a bizarre feeling to not be eating because my psyche was just so used to and conditioned to having food at these things. And a lot of times it's social things. We've paired food with it so much, but it just became an opportunity to indulge and indulge and indulge and indulge. And so we've got to separate those. It's not that you can't pair food with fun. That's not what I want to say. What I'm saying is they don't have to be paired. They can actually be separated. They can be looked at as two different things. And the other thing that a problematic belief that could go with like these social situations is that we no longer need to listen to our hunger cues, because I'm at a social thing. That's a big difference for me now on how I live my life versus how I used to. When I go to a social thing before with social eating or recreational eating, even like, maybe we're going to eat a meal, but it also could just be like a party with finger foods and things like that. In my mind, once I went to a social event, my hunger cues didn't matter. I didn't eat because I was hungry. I ate because I was here with all the people. But now, and what's helped me become thin and what's helped me stay thin is I listen to my hunger. That doesn't mean I don't still occasionally have some things at parties. I do. That doesn't mean I don't still have a few bites of some things. I do. What it means is I don't just take the brakes off, I don't just go all out because I still remind myself, like, just because I'm a party, that doesn't give me a free pass. I still got to take care of my body and what I need. So, but what do we do? When you find yourself at a party, how do you approach this? How do you handle it? So one of the things that I've found has helped me, and it's helped so many of my clients and things I teach in the guild, is we want to begin to separate ourself from our thoughts. We want to be able to create this actual understanding that I am not my thoughts. I have thoughts and I perceive them, And just because I think them, that doesn't mean I have to do them. They're just thoughts. I could just let it go. And that's really helpful because when you're first doing this in a social setting, your brain is going to feed you all the old thoughts. And if you're still associated with those thoughts on an identity level, you're going to feel like you have to do them. You're going to feel compelled. No, you've got to begin the process of perceiving what you're thinking so that when you're going into the party, you're like, oh, I hear the voice saying you should have more. I hear the inner habit energy in me pulling me to do what I've always done. I can see it happening. Because if you can get there where you can see it happening as it's happening and just pause, don't act on it, just pause and be like, let me wait. Let me just, all right, I see the food. I feel the urge to get it. I'm not going to get the food while I'm completely under the spell of this urge. I'm going to go do something for 20 minutes. I'm going to let the urge subside. And if I still want it, then I can have it. You see, then I didn't tell myself no. I just said, wait, just a minute. I'm not saying no, self. I hear you, self. I hear you want it. Maybe. Let's go do something for 20 minutes. Let's see if we really want it. Many times, if you'd gone in there with that old mindset of like, oh, hunger doesn't matter, don't got to worry about it, you'd have just plowed right past that and went right to the food because because your mind told you wanted it. And so, the other thing that why I want you to do this is because when you become more aware of your own thoughts of what's happening in the moment, you are simultaneously becoming more present in the moment. And the cool thing is awareness actually increases and enhances enjoyment of whatever it is you're doing. Isn't that what you were seeking to do with the food anyway? You wanted to enjoy something. You wanted it to be fun. You wanted to maximize fun. Being present and aware to what you're doing will actually bring you more joy and make you more fun. And so remember that it's not necessarily about willpower. Like you could be tempted to be like, all right, I'm going to white knuckle this. No, because I mean, you might have to sometimes, but that can't be your long-term game. The long-term game is stepping into that observer seat within your own mind so that you can then begin to perceive the automatic pilot that's running under the surface in your mind. So if you want to go deeper on this, be sure to head on over to becomingthin.com where you can check out my hunger study guide. Great question. All right, we'll be back in a minute with the next question. All right, welcome back. I'm enjoying myself with the bumper music. We're going to see what we do with this. I wanted to kind of break it up, let your mind get a chance to kind of wrap up from the previous question as we're moving into the next one. So our next question comes from Billy, again in the Becoming Thin Facebook group. Her question is, what do you do when a meal is perfect but simply not satisfying? My lunch today was absolutely perfect. 250 grams. My favorite vegetables, 6 grams olive oil, 2 eggs, 60 grams my favorite cheese, perfect seasoning, 80 grams favorite bread, whole grain. I was absolutely full, but so longing for something sweet. I even felt hungry, and I don't get why. Have you felt this? I know this one. I know this feeling. I do indeed. So as I said, we're going to streamline the question. So the kind of the streamlined question behind the question here is, why do I still feel hungry and crave sweets even after a seemingly perfectly balanced meal? All right. This is fun. This is a fun, interesting question. Because we're really talking about learning to discern between emotional hunger and physical hunger, but additionally between different types of physical hunger. And sometimes what's interesting, because we've had so much diet wounds and trauma in our past, we feel like guilty when we're craving foods. It's like, no, I shouldn't be craving this. Why am I wanting this? There's something wrong with me. I get that because sometimes it is like a habitual craving from an emotional side, but sometimes that craving is actually a different hunger signal being given to you. I didn't know this earlier in my journey. I had no idea. I just thought there was hungry, not hungry. I thought it was real basic in that way. And but the other thing that I'm seeing in this question maybe I'm seeing some hidden food rules is what it seems like. Like you didn't mention any, but like I'm hearing food rules in this because you said the phrase, where was it? Absolutely perfect. So perfect implies a standard by which that meal is compared to. I don't know what the standard is. So, but it sounds to me like there's some rules here that exist. And I'm also thinking that there's some different mindsets that might be holding you back that we should take a look at. One of them being that sweets are bad or forbidden. It sounds like you've got this, like, what made it perfect was the absence of sweets and you're still craving sweets and therefore this is a problem, is what it sounds like you're saying. I don't actually think that's correct. I think you're trying to solve a problem that's not a problem. And because it sounds like you have this belief, and again, I could be mistaken, just going off the singular question, but it sounds like there's this belief that craving sweets is like a sign of lack of control or a failing of some kind. And that full should, mean, no, I'm done. And I used to think this too. When I was first learning about hunger, as I said, it was either I'm hungry or I'm not hungry. As time progressed, I began to notice this other signal that I'd never really noticed before. There's this I'm hungry, I'm not hungry, and I don't want food. There was a third signal. I'm hungry, I'm no longer hungry. That was the absence of hunger, but I still want food. There was another feeling. It's I don't want food. Not full. I already knew that feeling. So I guess it was hungry, not hungry, full, and I don't want food. That I don't want food feeling is satiation. It's essentially your body saying, I have everything we need. You have provided me with all that is needed at the moment. Everything is in the system. I'm good to go. I don't need anything else. And it's not necessarily the absence of hunger. It's the stop eating feeling. And what's interesting is you can get really full, that fullness feeling that you feel in your stomach, and still not be satiated. You could still want things because you're not getting what you need. And I also began to discover another signal, which is my stomach is empty. So I set off on this journey with there's hungry and not hungry and full. Those are the signals. Then I discovered hungry, not hungry, full. I don't want food. Then hungry, not hungry, full. I don't want food. My stomach's empty. Oh, and that my stomach empty is feeling was new to me because my stomach usually wasn't empty before, in the before times. There's usually something in it. And I didn't ever go more than a couple of hours without putting something in my mouth to swallow. And it was like, whether it was liquid or food, right? It's just always was things going in. And so I hadn't gotten acquainted with the empty stomach feeling. And for a while, I thought this was the extent of my hunger lesson. Like, okay, I've now learned all there is to learn about hunger. And there was something I started noticing. This is well into the journey, like, I don't know, like 18 months or something like that. I don't remember. I mean, well past a year. And I started noticing that I would eat. On paper, I've given myself enough calories. My movement hasn't changed. There's plenty of protein, plenty of fiber, and yet I'd still be hungry. And I'm like, well, what is this? And I started looking into it. Like, why? And what I discovered is hunger doesn't just mean I need energy. You actually can get hunger for different specific things, for macronutrients and micronutrients. Your body doesn't speak in English. It's not like your body knows that spinach has vitamin A in it. Your body doesn't even know we call it vitamin A. It just knows I need those things. It doesn't talk in words. So your body will just start craving things that it wants. And that's where I had to learn that sometimes a craving is actually physical hunger telling me I need something. This was a multi-year thing to try to uncover what all these hunger signals meant. I still feel like I'm learning it some because I've only been doing this for like 4 years, like really focusing on like what do all the various hunger signals mean. I can tell when my body's like, I could use some carbs. I could tell when my body's like, we need some protein. I could tell when my body is like craving weird nutrients because all of a sudden I crave a food out of the blue that's not necessarily my favorite, but it's like, I'm like, I feel like I really need to eat this. And then I'll go get it. It's really interesting to see how this happens. And so what could be happening with you is that you're giving your body food, but you're still failing to provide it with what it needs. So I want to, maybe I don't know. Maybe you're not, there's something still missing that you need to include to your diet so that hunger goes away. I don't know, though. Again, I'd need to talk to get the full details. But there's another aspect to your question that I think is really important and that I want to talk about. It's these, back to what you said here on the thing. I so long for something sweet. You put a lot of O's there. It just comes across to me like you don't want to have the sweets, but you do want to have the sweets. Like there's this duality within you, and it's creating this tension. But you're not wrong for wanting something sweet. It's okay. Satisfaction, psychological palatability, it's about more than just what the macro distribution is. If you restrict too much in a way that you don't, that feels controlling, like I want this and so I can't have it ever, and it's bad that I even want it. Like when you keep yourself in that state, that usually will trigger a pushback at some point. So it would probably be wise to work the food in under control before you get a case of the fuck-its. So have something sweet. If you want something sweet, just work it in. If you're tracking your calories, it sounds like you're weighing your food, so you're probably tracking your calories. Just work it in. You'll be surprised. Like, don't get crappy sweets. Get really good stuff and just have a small amount of it. 100 calories isn't going to blow your diet. Having 100 calories in the day of something sweet is going to be fine. Having some chocolate, if you'd like, would be fine. I have something sweet every day. I love having something sweet every day. I have a little snack treats. I have the same couple every day. I rotate them out. I have like maybe 6 or 7 that I just sort of rotate through that are my favorites. But, they usually have some protein in it. They might have some fiber in it. They're very, very tasty. Like they usually have 8, 9, 12 grams of added sugars. They're sweet. Sometimes I will have some chocolate or some caramel or something because I do like those things. I have a little bit pretty much every day. I'm in a deficit right now, and I have a little bit every day. So I don't know that there's anything wrong with it. Maybe, just maybe, your body's actually wanting you to give it some sweets, and maybe that's why you should do it. So, great question. All right, this is the Becoming Thin podcast. We're back in a moment. Welcome back. All right. So we're just going to go right into our next question. Our next question comes from Sabrina in the Becoming Thin Facebook group. How do you overcome weight loss burnout? I'll work really hard and see great progress. Try to take a day or 2 break to recharge, not tracking, no meal planning, but also not eating anything and everything, and then get discouraged when I see the scale go up 2 to 3 pounds. I struggle to get back in the groove. Sometimes it takes me 1 full week to get back where I left off, but I get too burned out if I don't take off days. All right, streamlining this question, what I'm hearing is, how do I avoid burnout and bounce back from the small scale gains without losing momentum, getting demoralized? I'm hearing scale obsession in the question. I'm hearing focusing on a short-term time horizon. And I'm hearing fragile momentum being built. It's not being well cared for until it becomes like just a raging fire, a big boulder just coming down a hill. And I'm definitely hearing some mindsets that could be limiting you here, some self-limiting beliefs. One of them is that progress needs to be linear. A straight line down. Another one being that having it go up 2 pounds means you are failing. You're a failure. And also, it sounds like you have this belief that off days are risky instead of restorative, but also that you need them and you can't not take them. Like there sounds like there's some very conflicting beliefs around off days. It almost sounds like you're thinking in terms of cheat days without calling them cheat days. But you did add the caveat here where you said also, let's see, not tracking, no meal planning, but also not eating anything and everything. So it's like, it sounds like you're implying the only thing you're taking a break from is tracking, I guess. Like you said, I'll work really hard and see great progress. Try to take a day or two break to recharge. No tracking, no meal planning, but also not eating anything and everything. What I'm not clear on is what are you doing different on the break days versus the others? But you see the scale go up, which implies to me that you're eating different foods than you do the rest of the days, or you're eating different volumes, or maybe you're switching it to more carbs instead of protein. Like, I'm not sure what you're doing different. So because of that, like, I can only answer this question at a high level. I would need to know some specifics of like, what are the differences between the break days and the on days? Because this was very high level. And I'm willing to bet you're talking to yourself this way too. Like, I think you should be highly specific with yourself when you're taking a break. What am I not doing and what am I still doing? And so, but let's dig in. Let's talk about the scale first. I think that'll be the easiest one. Scale fluctuations are totally normal. I'm in a deficit right now. I'm weighing every day. Well, I forget some days, but most days. That scale is all over the place. Up 2 pounds, down 2 pounds. Up 3 pounds, down a pound. Up a pound, down 4 pounds. Up 3 pounds, up, down 2 pounds. Like, it's just, it's all over the place. So if you're allowing yourself to be bothered by the fluctuations, the first thing I would ask is, what's your sample period? Like, over what period of time are you looking at this? Like, when you say up 2 pounds from one day to the next, the body fluctuates weight multiple pounds a day all the time. Like, it's just normal. That is normal default body operations. Even when you're losing weight, you're still fluctuating because there's so many variables in your body that change in weight. And water is a big one. Like, your body can go pounds different up and down with water, just water. So that doesn't even include glycogen and body fat and food that's stored inside you. So it's something where if you're only looking at your weight within a few days, it's meaningless. It doesn't tell you anything from an overall story standpoint. What I teach in the guild is 3 weeks. 3 weeks. If we don't see, if we're seeing fluctuations over 3 weeks, okay, right? But that's the smallest unit of measurement, right? Because usually in 3 weeks of consistent measurement, you can see the trend. I'm either trending up, I'm trending flat, or I'm trending down. You can see it if you're taking enough of a sample. And so I think for you, stop focusing on the day-to-day changes of the scale because that's messing you up. That's making it much harder on you because you're focusing on the day-to-day fluctuations of the scale. I want you to alter your time horizon. Stop thinking in terms of days and weeks. Start instead thinking in terms of weeks and months. Make weeks a small unit of measurement. Let days be like, I'm going to do the thing today. But when we come back to talking to results only think in weeks and months. Don't expect to know what your results are for weeks. And that makes this challenging for weight loss because so many of us are habitual dieters. We've dieted like it was our job most of our life. And when you get into diet life, you focus on the day to day to day to day to day because you get this erroneous belief that you can lose weight every few days, but you can't. I mean, you can, but it has detrimental effects. It usually results in you gaining all your weight back. Slow and steady, sustainable weight loss, you will not lose weight every day and week. You just won't. You'll have weeks where the scale doesn't move, and it'll fluctuate all over the place. And you just got to hold the line. If a person comes to me after 2 weeks and like the scale went up 2 pounds, I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Do I need to change anything? I'm like, just be diligent on what you're already doing. Why? We need to have a third week. Without the third week, I don't know what the trend is. If it doesn't come back down, we know you're trending up. If it goes up again, well, we definitely know you're trending up. If it drops down a whole bunch, even with it, now it's just a spike. I need that third week. So I would start thinking in terms of that. And I want to challenge something else as well. It feels like when you're talking in terms of burnout, I think you might be trying to control too much. I did not say do too much, okay? I didn't say that. If I meant do too much, I would have said that. I said I think you're trying to control too much. So much of weight loss is just outside of your control. You're like a boat in a river. You're not in control of the river at all, right? You're gliding through the river. You're in control of you and your boat. And your boat's not your body, right? Like there's so much even within your own body you're not in control of, like body weight fluctuations. But you might be trying to control your food. You might be trying to control your appetites. You might be trying to control so many different things. But sometimes the easiest way to do this is gently. To not micromanage every little tiny thing. Because if you micromanage every teeny tiny little thing, yeah, that's likely to lead to burnout. It's likely to lead to burnout. So maybe rather than going so hard that you need to take 2 days off a week to recover, which is probably sounds like it's resulting in 5 steps forward, 5 steps back, 5 steps forward, 4 steps back, 5 steps forward, 3 steps back. Like it's just all these wasted steps back. What if you just took 1 step forward? And then a week later, you took 1 step forward. Yeah, you're not as far initially, right? But you're not wasting all this energy going backwards. Like you might be trying to lose weight too fast, maybe. I don't know. But it could be, based on what you're describing. If you're worrying about 2 or 3 pounds, if you're thinking in long term, the fluctuations aren't going to matter so much. I would rather you found a way of losing weight that you don't need to take breaks from, but you got to do some things. So you might need to ease into some things, right? You might need to slowly reduce your food intake. You might need to slowly ramp up your exercise, slowly add more knee movement. Now, when I say slowly, I don't mean 6 months. I mean like 6 weeks, okay? 6 weeks is a great ramp up time, 3 to 6 weeks. Because weight loss does not have to be white knuckled. It does not have to be white knuckled at all. A book you might want to check out that talks about this is The 8 Keys to End Emotional Eating by Dr. Howard Farkas. Actually, I'm going to grab that book. I want to read you a quick snippet from it. Now, I recommend this book all the time, and so I know a lot of you have it. So if you want to go find this section in your own book, it's page 56, but the subheading is Don't Micromanage Your Body. The upshot is that dieting is not sustainable. Diet programs offer false hope by producing short-term results. But in reality, the act of dieting has the opposite of your intended effect over the long term by making it more difficult to lose weight and easier to gain. Your body has an important say in the matter, and its view of dieting is very simple. Like any food shortage, it's a threat to survival and it must be resisted. That's what your body thinks. I'm going to skip ahead a little further on. The metabolic system is designed to function on its own to maintain consistency. After eons of genetic mutations and the natural selection of those that work best, we've ended up with an intricate and complex design to regulate our energy intake and output. While the number of calories we take in may vary wildly over days and weeks, our body is designed to maintain an almost unvarying weight. Yet, many dieters apparently believe that it needs their close supervision and input to work well. When you diet, you're attempting to micromanage your body and override some of the crucial information that it uses to maintain the delicate balance of this complex system. It's like a corporate business manager asking a data scientist to step aside while he fixes the algorithm that's been working so well. Anything you do to try helping the process along is just one more burden that you're putting on your body to carry out a task that it's already doing amazingly well without your involvement. One example of this type of micromanagement is something I see very often. When someone eats a dessert after dinner or has some extra bread at brunch, they feel the need to work it off later that day at the gym or run an extra mile or two. Your body monitors what you eat and how much energy you burn. So your extra input is just more information that it has to sort out, which can be confusing and misleading. It may even try to compensate for the extra energy expenditure by conserving energy and storing more fat to avoid starvation. Now, he goes on, and I would definitely encourage you to read the rest of this section in the book. It's excellent. But your body knows what to do. Your body came out knowing how to handle it. We just added a whole bunch of mental noise. It makes things a lot more complicated. So lean into the calm. Lean into trusting your body. And hey, everybody listening, if any part of this is hitting home from this episode today, I want to personally invite you to come join the Mindset of Weight Loss workshop that I'm putting on starting this coming Monday, June 23rd, or 24th? No, 23rd. And it's from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's totally free. It syncs up with the anniversary of my weight loss journey, which is next week. I've always wanted to do a workshop syncing up with the anniversary, and 6 years after feels like the right time to do it. So if you've ever said to yourself, I know what to do, I just don't ever seem to get myself to do it, or I can't stick with it, this workshop's going to help you begin the process of fixing that. So if you want to come to this totally free workshop, head to imnotquitting.com. That's IMNOT quitting.com, and it's free. And I'll hope to see you then. All right, that was a great question that we had from our last listener. We'll be back in a moment with our next question. I was feeling a funky vibe when I picked up bumper music this week. Have fun with it. Welcome back to the Becoming Thin podcast, where we're taking questions from Facebook listeners in the Becoming Thin Facebook group, which you can join that by just search for Becoming Thin on Facebook. I've got a vacation. Oh, this question comes from Rachel. I've got a question coming up. It's been my constant motivation for 6 months. All my other whys are really important to me, but the approach of the vacation has kept me motivated. I'm really worried that I'll crash out and destroy my progress afterwards because I won't have a looming deadline. Any advice for tackling the post-vacation loss of motivation? Streamlined question, real obvious for this one. How do I stay motivated after a big goal like a vacation is over? You don't set goals like vacations for losing weight. That's how. You don't set the goal in the first place. This is a goal that should have been set. I'm glad it got you off the starting line, but you should have swapped that goal out a long time ago. So there's a thing in racing. It's called post-race blues. People that do running races or bike races and things like that. You've been training. You've been going for this thing. It gave you purpose. It gave you mission. It gave you drive. You go to the event and it's over. And it's like, I have no purpose. I have no mission. I have no drive. And I don't know what to do. And you give up. Why? Because you don't have a why. That's why you give up. Your why was the vacation. And now you just went on the vacation and the why is gone. You just lost all your source of motivation for losing weight. And if you don't replace it with another source of motivation, you're not going to get up and keep going. Not at all. So this is a short-term problem. Or this is framed as a short-term problem with your deadline. Let me just lose weight for this vacation and then it's over and I'm done. In your mind, everything about your question is sending me the message that in your mind somewhere, the journey is done. On the other side of this vacation, it's done. The mission is accomplished. Lose weight by the vacation. Vacation came and went. Now what? Now what? You see, lifestyle change has no finish line. You see, we're not trying to diet the weight off around here. When I'm teaching you the Becoming Thin way, it's to change your lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, belief systems. You change your lifestyle. Not temporarily, you swap out the old one for an entirely new one that you do all the time. It's not like you're going, let's take switching to being a vegetarian as a lifestyle, right? You don't just, I'm only vegetarian in the summer months. I mean, I guess some people could do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing it, but most people go all in or not, right? It's like, well, I'm a vegetarian even when I'm on vacation because it's just who I am. I'm a vegetarian when I come off of vacation because it's just what I do. It's just how I be. And so I think you've got to shift your thinking in your head from weight loss is a finite game, a game with an end, and switch it instead to this is a game that is infinite. It has no end. The point of the game is not to win. The point of the game is to play for as long as you can. That's why you're doing it. Taking care of your body doesn't ever stop. You weren't responsible for it when you were first born. Your parents were. As you got older, that responsibility slowly transitioned from them to you. You are completely and totally responsible for this body that you live in. Your responsibility to care for it, unlike children, which ends when they turn 18-ish, doesn't end for your body. You got to take care of it forever. And so the way you're talking is pointing to this idea that I don't have to keep doing this on the other side. I'm only going to take care of my body if I have an external goal to do it for. No, you do it for you. You're not doing it for a vacation. You're doing it for your own consciousness. You're doing it for your own enjoyment. You're doing it for your own benefit. That's why you got to become thin, healthy, happy, and in shape. For you. You are going to be here until you're not. Take care of you the whole time. Take care of this body for you the entire time. Don't think in terms of dieting and weight loss. Start thinking in terms of weight management, and I'm managing my weight down. And then eventually I will manage it flat. One day you might choose to manage it up. I was just doing that. It was weird to manage my weight up on purpose. I'd never done that before. I always managed it up on accident. But it's weight management. So what I want you to do is to make decisions based on the lifestyle you're trying to create long term. This is why I think it's so important to only do things or be very, very cautious when you're selecting what you're going to do. My advice is only do things that you're willing to do for the next 10 years. There's going to be a handful of things that you need to do that you're not going to do for 10 years, like being in a calorie deficit, right? Like you're not going to do that for 10 years. But how are you going to create that calorie deficit? Do everything possible to do it in a way that's sustainable. Always prioritize sustainability. The goal that you had, you probably were prioritizing speed and efficiency. And we're going to talk about this in my workshop next week, like how to create an effective plan. What is an effective strategy? I think your strategy here is not going to be effective in the long term. And I think your mind is already identifying that because you're seeing like, I'm about to lose my major source of motivation. So you definitely need to dig into your why, and you need to get a stronger sense of why are you seeking to lose this weight. Because the objective here is never to be done. That's not the objective. The objective is to stay in the game as long as you can. This is the Becoming Thin podcast. Welcome back to the Becoming Thin podcast. I'm your host, Chris Terrell. We are taking questions from listeners in the Becoming Thin Facebook group. Our next question comes from Danielle. Thinking about your mindset when you were at your heaviest, you must have had a moment when you said, I can't live like this anymore. What was going on at your head at your worst weight versus the mindset when you first decided to change? I imagine your mindset is way better now, but what was it like at the turning point? That's an interesting question. You know, because you're really asking me what my mindset was like when I was at my metaphorical rock bottom and what caused me to finally change. I'm going to tell the full, I'm going to take 3 days next week to give you the full answer. Like I've got 6 hours of next week planned to answer this fully. So that's my first answer is come to the workshop next week at, and you can register for that at imnotquitting.com, imnotquitting.com. But I'll give you a few things now. The first is I was tired, sick and tired of being all talk. I was having a real honest heart-to-heart with myself and realizing that I was all talk. I talked a big game. I talked like I knew what I was doing. I talk like I'm all in control of myself and I'm great, like I know how things are. But when I'd look at myself in the mirror, I'd be like, clearly, self, you have not figured everything out. And so my brain, with the cognitive dissonance, would be like, well, it must just mean I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. That's why I can't lose the weight, because I'm fine. But then I'm like, well, but no, like, then why are you eating 2 tubs of popcorn? Like, we may not know what to do, but we know that's not helping, right? We know that, because I didn't want to admit to myself and own it fully that I just didn't care. I didn't want to care. I didn't want to admit that. But I was having this, after my dad died, I was being really honest with myself for the first time in a long, 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 long time. And I was realizing my body didn't match who I believed I was becoming, who I thought I was, who I wanted to become. I'd look at my body and I looked at the past and I just drew a line from where I started to where I'm at now and could see I was just heading in the wrong direction. It's like, I got to change course. I cannot keep going this way. I'm about to be over 300 pounds. I said I'd deal with this if I got to 260. A loophole, just don't get on the scale and you never see 260 as you go right on by it. That's what I did. And so it's like, I'm now well past it. I'm like, shit, I said I'd do something about this 30 pounds ago. And if I don't do something about it now, I'm about to be 300 pounds. And if this trend keeps continuing, I'm about to go well above 300 pounds. Like, I just don't know if I want to do this. So I'm at 290. I'm 10 pounds away. And I was gaining. So I didn't like that trajectory. I had to change it. I began to think about in the future the hell that was waiting for me if I didn't change. I just started thinking about that. And I kept reminding myself how it ain't great now either. Like, living in my body was an uncomfortable, unpleasant experience. I wouldn't tell people that necessarily. I might complain about some things and blame it on things like old age, but no, it's just straight up neglect. I wasn't going to talk about it. Not like because I was trying to hide it from everybody else. I was trying to hide it from me. If I owned that I hated living in my body, I'd have had to do something about it. And I didn't want to own it because I didn't want to do anything about it. I didn't want to give up my toys. And so the other thing that got me thinking about this, actually, I'll share some things I'm not planning to share next week. If people knew how I behaved when I was alone, if people saw who I am by myself, then I would have been very embarrassed. I would not want anybody to know how I treated myself when I was alone. It was not good. I would not want people to see how I'd eat when no one was around. I just wouldn't want anybody to see it. And so I kept putting pride in all these other accomplishments in my life as if it would somehow offset that I was just doing terrible at taking care of my body, my own body. But it really came to a head when I heard some people at the job I was at talking pretty badly about a pretty overweight person at the company that had just joined. And it was like bad, like very judgmental. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I mean, this person's bigger than me, but I was like, I'll bet y'all talk about me when I'm not around then, do you? Don't you? I started thinking about that. And I was really worried about that because I was worried they were actually just going to say out loud what I was already saying to myself. That part of me just hoped it wouldn't be true. And then if they said it, and then I already was suspecting it, it's like, crap, now I got more evidence, independent review to confirm my fear. So, I decided at the beginning that I'm gonna let my actions do all the talking. I'm done. My talk was cheap. I had clearly proven it. My talk was cheap, and as I said, I was sick and tired of being all talk. My dad had a saying, "What you're doing speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying." And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what I'm doing speaks so loudly, no one can hear what I'm saying, including me. And it's time to let my walking do the talking. And so I really wasn't trying to fix myself as much as what I was attempting to do is to become congruent and to live my life in alignment with my values and who I wanted to be in the future. Because if I looked at how I was behaving and conducting myself, I was not becoming the person I wanted to be in the future. I was becoming something different. And I needed to change. Now, I know the podcast and everything to it says becoming thin, but I did want to become thin. Thin was one of the things I wanted, but I wanted many, many more things. I wanted to be confident. I wanted to love myself. I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to live my life authentic to what I wanted. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be courageous. I wanted to be determined. I wanted to be those things. And I also wanted to keep living. And as I started working on all this stuff, it became easier to become thin, to become healthy, to become happy, and to become in shape. Because I wanted all four of those in addition to all those other things. The honest answer is I wanted to become the best Chris Terrell that the world has ever seen, including me. I wanted to become the best me I had ever been. And when I looked at my past, I was not becoming the best me that had ever been. I was slowly becoming some lesser version of it. I was settling for mediocrity, the mediocre Chris. No, I wanted to see what I was made of. I wanted to see what I could do. I wanted to see how far I could go. And I decided to do it slow. So slow. And at first, it didn't seem like I was making any progress. But now I'm 6 years later. It's hard for me to wrap my head sometimes around who I've become, the life I'm living, the things I do, the thoughts I think, the feelings I feel, the person staring back at me in the mirror. It's tricky for me sometimes. But that's why I did it. That's why I did it. Great question. This is the Becoming Thin podcast. We'll be back with our last question. Welcome back to the Becoming Thin podcast. Take our last question from the day. Our last question comes from Luke in the Becoming Thin Facebook group. How do you overcome the mental gap looking in the mirror and still seeing your bigger self? I've lost over 75 pounds so far, and my clothes are obviously fitting much differently, but I still feel like I look just as big in the mirror. How do you shift that mental image? Oh, why do I see my bigger self even after losing all the weight? People talk about this body dysmorphic effect. Yep. I know it. I know it well. I felt it several times along the journey. It's like my body would change and my mental picture wouldn't update yet. And that was frustrating because it's like all of a sudden my mind would update. And I was like, wait, why am I seeing myself this way? And now I was like, wait, this isn't my face. And it's just like, oh, wait, that's my face. And it's so confusing. So confusing. So time is the answer. You just let time pass and you keep doing things to remind yourself of what you look like and you don't fight it. Avoid saying things like, I don't look that good. I don't look that thin. I haven't had that progress. Don't be very careful about talking negatively about your progress. You don't want to accidentally reinforce your mind to start looking for that stuff. Just remind yourself that your brain picture will do updates every so often. Usually it'll be months in between a mental picture update where your brain will go, this is what my face and body looks like now. Because especially a lot of you on the journey, you'll reach this point where it's sort of a critical mass where a lot of the changes you've been making in your life are creating pretty steady weight loss, and you're losing it like, pound and a half a week. And it's like for like a few months at a time. And it's like, whoa, you change fast, slowly. It's real slow, but it's just like, it doesn't stop. But it's still faster than your brain can keep up with it. And it's a fun thing, I guess. It's a weird thing. It's disconcerting. So what helped me, I found a few techniques that seem to help me. One of them is take pictures of yourself a lot. Take a lot of selfies. Lots and lots and lots of selfies. And don't just do them with the selfie cam, do them with the other side so you can get used to seeing your face. Remember, your face is reversed on a lot of photos. So get used to seeing your face mirrored and normally. Like, just get lots of photos of yourself and take them, get in them, look at them. it'll help your brain. Like, that's me. That's what I look like. I look like this. I look like that. And this is what I look like. I look like that. The other thing I found, if you want to test it, this is a fun little thought experiment. You stand outside your bathroom and close your eyes and just imagine, don't go into the bathroom first. Don't look at yourself. Close your eyes and then imagine what you look like. Try to paint the picture in your mind as best as you can. And then hold that picture in your mind and keep your eyes closed and relocate in front of the mirror with your eyes closed. It's your own bathroom. You ought to be able to do that. And then while you're holding the picture in your mind, open your eyes and see if the eye picture matches the brain picture. It's kind of interesting. I did it a few times and it was drastically different. I mean, drastic difference. But it seemed to help my mind kind of force an update, getting that visual evidence. Also, stay in clothes that fit you properly, right? Loose hanging clothes aren't a good look on you. Keep clothes that look good. That way you get used to, like, okay, this is my size t-shirt. I remember when I first started wearing small t-shirts, they looked like they were made for children. And I was like, this is too small. Actually, I remember that with medium shirts, thinking this is a child's shirt. And then I put it on, it was loose. And now when I hold up a small or a medium shirt, I'm like, it just looks like a shirt. Like, it doesn't look big, it doesn't look small, it looks normal, because my brain has since updated. So keep staying in clothes that fit you and fit what you're looking for. Great question. All right, that was it for today. I hope you all enjoyed that. I'll be taking more questions from the Becoming Thin Facebook group. And if you have enjoyed the podcast, please leave a comment if you're on Spotify and a rating and a review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, I'd like a chance to earn a good review. So give me a few episodes to earn that first. And also, I want to just remind you again about the Mindset of Weight Loss workshop that I'm doing next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's designed, if you are at the beginning of your journey, if you're stuck, you don't know what to do, come to this workshop. It's not a diet plan. It's mindset work. I'm going to teach you the beginning mindset and frameworks that I used to go on and lose 125 pounds. And I used the same framework to help me keep it off. And here I am 6 years later. I'm still thin, healthy, happy, and in shape. And I'd love to see you there. You can register for that by heading to imnotquitting.com. Go have a great week on your weight loss journey, champion. Push, focus, sacrifice something at the altar of your dreams, at the altar of the you at the other end of this journey. You deserve to live in the body and life of your dreams, but it's not going to come for free. I know you wished it would. I know you wish you didn't have to work hard, but don't waste another year looking for a shortcut. Just do it the right way. Do it the slow and steady way. Do it the easy way by letting time be your ally. Yes, you're going to have to fight your own impatience. So surround yourself with a community and support network that are going to encourage you all the way to the end of your dream, or under your goal to get to the body and life of your dreams. Don't give up on you. Find a hard moment in the next 7 days and push through it. That's when you grow. That's when you learn. That's when you become more. I'll see you next week on the Becoming Thin podcast.